Best relationship advice no one ever told you. In this video, I'm going to tell you what it really takes to have an amazing relationship. It's Sabrina, your personal love advisor from A New Mode, the channel where we show you how love actually works. I've been writing about relationships and giving relationship advice for over a decade now, which is very surreal and makes me feel very old. One thing I discovered pretty early on is that most relationship problems can be solved with a few key pieces of relationship advice. The biggest issues women face, and it boggles my mind how literally women from all over the world, all ages, all races, all ethnicities, all share the same struggles when it comes to relationships. But they can all be solved by understanding a few core concepts. I remember there was this one week where 4 of my friends called me for advice about relationship problems they were having. And the problems were all completely different, but the advice was pretty much the same for all of them. And I found myself just saying the same things over and over again to the point where I felt like, okay, I should just make a recording of this and play it anytime somebody calls me. And I guess that's essentially what I'm doing now by making this video. This isn't relationship advice you're gonna find anywhere else. This is what no one tells you, and this will actually change your life. So make sure you watch this video until the end. Now, real quick, before we get into it, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to just tap that like button right now, real quick. That is a super quick, super easy way to help me out, help me grow my channel. It will take you less than a second. All right, I'm gonna give you a second to do that right now. Good? All right, while you're at it, also hit that subscribe button and make sure to ring the bell so you get notified whenever I post new videos, because you do not want to miss out. Also, if you want to understand exactly how men operate and why they do the things they do, that's literally the whole reason why I started A New Mode to begin with, then you should definitely check out our He's Not That Complicated system. It breaks down male behavior piece by piece, and don't worry, I wrote it with a man, so it's not just coming from my perspective, but I wrote it with Eric Charles, my partner on A New Mode. We break it all down to understand exactly why men do the things they do, and knowledge is power, so this will empower you. And we also give you the tools to have an amazing relationship. So if you're interested in that, then check it out. You can download it right now at understandhim.com, and I will link it down below. Okay, this is the best advice that no one ever talks about. Number 1, choose wisely. Your relationship success is basically determined before you're even in a relationship. It starts with who you choose. I used to be the classic stereotype of a girl who only wants what she can't have. I was totally turned off by the guys who were desperately in love with me, and I only wanted the damaged cases who had a ton of issues that I needed to solve for them. The guys who were just completely emotionally unavailable, the guys who were commitment foes, or whatever you wanted to call it. And time again, I was left utterly baffled as to why nothing ever worked out for me. Why did they never want me like I wanted them? Why did the relationships never get past a certain point? Why did I always feel so powerless in relationships? Like the guy was calling all the shots. Oh right, I'm only going after emotionally unavailable guys who can't give me what I want, or are incapable of giving me more than just mere little scraps. And I'm looking at everything through rose-colored glasses. I'm exaggerating these little bare minimum attempts. I'm raising it up to be some grand romantic gesture so I can continue deluding myself into believing that he actually cares and things are actually going in a good direction. And then I'm left shattered when the inevitable happens and things fall apart because he can't give me what I want, he can't commit, and I'm totally shocked by this, even though the writing was on the wall from the very beginning. But seriously, choice is everything. You can't choose a loser and expect him to magically transform into a winner just because you want him to. So that's like going to the racetrack and betting on a losing horse who always loses and is falling apart limb from limb and saying, you know, I really want this guy to win. I really want to make him a champion here, so I'm just gonna put all my money on him and hope for the best. Yes, you might be the most amazing woman that he has ever encountered. He might be so lucky that someone like you is interested in him, but all of that is not enough to change a man. He's only going to change when he wants to change. No amount of you being amazing is going to inspire him to change. You have to see a situation for what it is and focus on the truth of what it is. And stop focusing on how sexy and funny and cool and whatever he is. That's what gets you into trouble. Focus on what matters, and those things are not what matters. That does not lay the foundation for a healthy relationship. If you want a serious relationship, choose a guy who wants the same. If you want to have children and have a family, choose a guy who wants the same. If you have certain values and those are really important to you, choose a guy that shares those values. Love isn't enough to conquer fundamental incompatibility and emotional baggage. You have the choice of who to be with, and that choice gives you power. Use it. Number 2, what are you bringing to the table? All right, mama, I'm going to ask you a difficult question here, and it might be a little bit hard to hear. But what exactly are you bringing to the table? You want this amazing guy who's confident and smart and successful and has a booming 401k. Well, what are you bringing to him? What value are you offering here? Like attracts like. This is a really important relationship concept. If you're insecure and emotionally unavailable, then that is what you will attract. But wait a minute, I'm not emotionally unavailable. I desperately want a relationship. That's not my problem. Well, pay attention to this part. If you are insecure, then that means you're most likely using a relationship to fill an emotional void within you. Because your behavior is coming from a place of deep down fearing that you are not good enough. And what do I tell you about the subconscious mind? It is always looking to prove itself right. So if deep down you don't feel like you're good enough, you are going to subconsciously go after guys that treat you like you're not good enough. So you are unavailable. You just don't realize you are. You're unavailable in the way that you're getting in your own way. What is it? You're cutting off your nose to spite your face, but you don't realize you're doing it. You don't realize that you think that if I can get this guy to like me, then I'll be okay. Then I'll be whole. Then I'll be healed and all my problems will just melt away. But deep down, you don't really think that you're ever going to have a relationship. So you go for guys that cannot give you what you want, thus confirming how you already feel about yourself. So really, you need to tackle that insecurity. You need to focus on being your best self, being that amazing woman, matching him at that level. If you want the high quality guy, you have to be the high quality girl. A good first step is to ask yourself, would I want to date me? And be honest. Number 3, stressing ruins relationships. Another thing I find myself saying over and over again is stressing ruins relationships, because it's in my inbox, it's in my DMs every single day. The stress and the worry and the feeling that if you just stress enough and analyze enough, you're somehow going to land at a resolution. But that's not how it happens. Seriously, why do we do this to ourselves? We're so worried about the relationship that we can't enjoy being in the relationship. And then you can't really blame the guy when he starts to pull away, when he doesn't really feel so into it anymore, because it doesn't feel good to be around that kind of energy. But I get it, like the fears are real. What if he doesn't like me as much as I like him? What if he leaves me and I'm completely blindsided? What if he isn't serious about me? What if he's a liar and a cheater like my ex? What if he realizes I'm not good enough and he leaves me for someone better? These fears are real and they can consume you if you let them. You might think that hitting a certain milestone will keep the crazies away. Like, okay, I'll stop obsessing as soon as he calls me his girlfriend, as soon as he tells me he loves me, as soon as he tells me he loves me again, because he said it the one time, but then it took a really long time before he said it again. So what if he doesn't love me anymore? As soon as we meet each other's families, as soon as we move in together, there's always going to be an as soon as. There's always going to be another milestone, and you are never going to be able to fully relax. There's always going to be something new to stress about. Even if you get married, you might be worried, well, what if he leaves me? What if he cheats? Marriage isn't ironclad. People leave and get divorced all the time. You have to stop all of it. It gets you nowhere. I'm not saying these things won't happen. They might. But instead of focusing on how your whole world is going to collapse if this guy doesn't like you back, if he ghosts you, if he dumps you, whatever the case may be, just focus on telling yourself that, okay, these things might happen. The only person I have control over is myself. And what I'm going to control is my thoughts. And I'm going to tell myself, I'm going to be okay. I will be okay no matter what. If he leaves me, okay, it will hurt, it will be hard, but I will get through it and I will be okay. One thing I see a lot is a woman will go on a date with a guy and she'll be so worried, like, is he gonna ask me on another date? Am I gonna see him again? Instead of worrying, just focus on enjoying where you're at right now. There's nothing to worry about. Just be in the present. Be in the here and now. I'm telling you, the stressing is what's messing women up more than anything else. So if you are going to prioritize anything, prioritize getting that under control. Number 4, you can't win them all. This is probably the toughest lesson to learn, but it's so important for your sanity and your self-esteem. So let's say you're seeing a guy and you fall hard and you fall fast. And he checks every box and he's just so wonderful. He's everything you've been looking for. He's going to be your salvation. All the pain you've been through, all the heartache, it will all have been worth it because now you have him. And just as you're getting so excited about the possibilities, he ends it. He just doesn't want to be with you anymore. Maybe he has reasons. Maybe he just can't make you a priority right now. Maybe he feels like something's missing. Maybe he wants to focus on his career. Okay, that's all fine. But it doesn't lessen the blow. You're hurting and you're crushed beyond belief. You play mental gymnastics, going through every single interaction, every text exchange, what you said, what you should have said, what you should have done differently. And maybe if I hadn't done this, or maybe if I had done this instead, then everything would be perfect and it would be fine. Essentially, you're just trying to figure out this. Why wasn't I enough? Let me tell it to you straight. You are enough. You're plenty. You just weren't the right woman for him, and that's okay. Not everyone is a match, and you can't win them all. I know it feels like you're never gonna find a guy as amazing as him ever again, but that is your mind playing a cruel trick on you, because that's not true. There are billions of men in this world. You make a mess for yourself when you take it personally when it wasn't personal. And then you get jaded, you get a chip on your shoulder, and you screw up your next relationship because you're so worried that history is gonna repeat itself that you end up bringing the very thing you fear into fruition because you can't just relax. Just like I'm sure you've dated wonderful guys who were great. They were great on paper, but something was missing, and so you ended it. I mean, it doesn't mean that they were flawed or they weren't worthy or they weren't good enough. I'm sure some other woman found that guy to be her knight in shining armor. You just can't win them all. It's not personal. All you can do is focus on being your best. And even when you're at your best, you're still gonna make mistakes. You're still gonna mess up here and there. And to that, I say, when a guy really, really likes you, it's gonna take a hell of a lot to talk him out of it. It's not gonna be because you texted him too many consecutive times in a row. It's not gonna be because you said to him, what are we? Where is this going? That's not gonna scare away a guy who genuinely likes you. So I need all of you to quit it with that, because I hear it all the time. You think, oh, I made this mistake and it pushed him away. No, he just wasn't in it enough to begin with. You can't control how someone else feels. You just need to accept that you can't win them all, and that's okay. Number 5, your vibe matters more than your looks. Yes, looks matter, but not as much as you think. Your vibe determines so much more when it comes to how people respond to you and how much success you have in relationships and in your life in general. And the good news is your vibe is completely under your control. It's about managing your moods and not letting yourself be overtaken by anxious, worried, stressful, negative thoughts. I know it doesn't feel like it's under your control, but it is, because once those thoughts come flooding in, recognize it, see it, acknowledge that you are having these feelings right now, and then just let them go. Say, I am not gonna participate in this right now. I mean, every day, I and everyone else, struggle. Like, you can take yourself in a direction of being sad about everything happening in your life. I can do it too. I know maybe you guys have a perception like I have it all together, and that's because I have to fight and work to feel like I have it all together. I could easily let myself get swept up in that negative current and into thinking that everything is wrong and nothing is how I want it to be. Or I could focus on the millions of blessings I have in my life. And we all have that choice every day. Even people with the most seemingly perfect lives, they face that same choice too. You can get swept away in the negative, or you could focus on what's good in your life. Negative thoughts have a way of spiraling and multiplying. It starts with one and then they all come creeping in. So you have to learn to nip it in the bud. This is gonna feel weird at first, but it's gonna become natural the more you do it. The more you just say, nope, get out of here. I'm not dealing with you today. I'm not gonna let myself be taken in this direction. One of the most important things to understand about men is that men move towards what feels good. While women may have like a mile-long checklist of what they want in a man and in a relationship, like he has to be this, and he has to have this kind of job, and this much, and he has to have a full head of hair, and he has to be over 6 feet. Men really, they might have their personal types, like look-wise, but men just want a woman that is easy to be around. That's really all it comes down to. And when you have a good mood and a good vibe, it feels good to be around you. And then he'll want to be around you. It's as simple as that. Number 6, good relationships don't always feel good. Here's the thing that no one ever really tells you about good relationships. They don't always feel good. But it's not for the same reasons that bad relationships don't feel good. Bad relationships are the ones filled with all the drama. The highs are higher, the lows are lower. And when I say bad relationship, I mean everything from a toxic, codependent situation to a relationship where a guy just doesn't like you as much as you like him, or a guy who just won't commit to you in a significant way. But in a good relationship, a relationship where you like him and he likes you and you're on the same page and you want the same things, where you would never even think to question if he likes you because it's just so clear and obvious. Well, those are the relationships that bring you face to face with who you are. Because here's something very important to realize: love brings up all that is unloved within us. Now, when you're in one of those bad relationships, you just get lost in all the drama. And why isn't he calling? Why isn't he texting? As soon as I get him to commit, everything will be fine. But when you're in a relationship where you don't have any of that drama, you're just face to face with who you are. And this is going to bring up issues that you never dealt with. Sometimes there will be nothing wrong in the relationship, but you're just going to feel this sadness, this anxiety. And you can't blame it on him. You can't blame it on him not prioritizing you, not being there for you, because he is there for you and he does prioritize you. He adores you. He calls you his girlfriend. He's committed to you. These feelings aren't coming from him. They're coming from you. If you've been hurt in the past, this feeling of unease comes from your deep-seated trust issues, the issues that you never really dealt with. And now it's coming out in a perfectly good and healthy relationship. There's this idea that in the right relationship, everything will just be perfect. He'll be the other half of your soul. You'll reach a high level of happiness you never knew existed. You'll complete each other. A good relationship can give you these things for sure, but not on its own. It has to start from within. And if you don't already feel good about yourself, then the most loving partner in the world is not going to help you get there. And nothing that he does will ever really be enough. You'll never fully be able to let yourself go, to fully trust. When we're single, we're unaware of this work that needs to be done. I mean, when you're single, you can definitely tackle all the other issues that you need to deal with. And I talked about this a lot in my video on how to love being single, but that will only take you so far. And I remember coming to this point in my own life where I felt like, okay, I've come as far as I can go as a single person. I feel self-actualized. I feel good about myself. I feel confident. Any more work I'm going to do on my personal development is going to come in a relationship. And boy, did it. I mean, when I started dating my husband, it definitely brought up all these other unresolved issues within me because I had this great guy who really loved me, really cared about me, and I couldn't just let him. And that's what happens in good relationships. You come face to face with who you are and issues that you never really dealt with. And the more bad relationships you've had in the past, and I've had plenty, the more unresolved issues are going to be there for you to deal with. You can't hide from who you are when you're in a good, loving, healthy relationship. And it's important to recognize that this is normal, but also that it's your responsibility to deal with it, and you can't put it on your partner. And here is the key takeaway. Love isn't meant to make you happy. It's meant to make you grow. I hope this video was helpful. If so, please give it a like and please leave a comment below sharing your thoughts, your feedback, your questions. I know I brought up some really heavy stuff here, so if you need any clarification, I'm happy to give it. I try to answer everyone. Also, make sure to subscribe to the A New Mode newsletter, anewmode.com/subscribe. Follow me on Instagram @anewmode, and I will see you in the next video.